Every single night, something crawls out of this man's body. Not a nightmare, but a living creature. A thing he brought back from orbit, hidden inside himself. Now they are one, kill one, and the other dies too. And the military that locked him away on a secret base still hasn't decided what to do with him. Somewhere in the Kazakh steppe stands a classified military facility that officially doesn't exist. They've brought the only surviving cosmonaut here, and here in secret, they summon scientists too, because the man didn't come home alone. The year is 1983. Two Soviet cosmonauts are finishing their mission in orbit, and suddenly outside the ship, in total vacuum, there's a knocking, as if something is asking to be let in. Moments later, their capsule is already burning through the atmosphere. The capsule slams into the bare steppe. When they pry it open, only one man is left alive, Konstantin Veshnyakov. The other is dead. Konstantin remembers nothing about the final minutes of the flight. At least, that's what he says. Meanwhile, in another city, a doctor named Tatiana Klimova is being dragged before a review board. She's a neurophysiologist with reckless methods and a bad reputation, about to lose her license for risking patients where everyone else gives up. And that is exactly why Colonel Semiradov comes for her. He doesn't need an obedient doctor. He needs one who isn't afraid. He drives Klimova to his secret facility, explaining almost nothing on the way. He only hints that this case is special. The car rolls across the endless steppe toward a grim concrete compound behind barbed wire. Inside, labs, cells, observation rooms behind thick glass. And a single patient, for whose sake all these people and all these guns have been gathered. They show Klimova the man, Konstantin, a hero, a cosmonaut being buried on national television as dead. The local scientist, Jan Riegel, has spent a month failing to treat his amnesia. In just a few talks, Klimova diagnoses post-traumatic stress, but that's only the surface. She sits down with him, one-on-one. First she pushes, provokes, hits where it hurts. His abandoned son, his dead co-pilot. Then she abruptly softens, apologizes. And Konstantin begins to thaw, to open up. He almost makes you like him. Almost. And that night, Klimova learns the real reason she was brought here. When Konstantin falls asleep, a creature slowly crawls out of his mouth. Thin, pale, with long limbs. It is not of this world, and it lives inside him. This is not a parasite you can cut out. The thing and the man are bound for life. Separate them, and you kill them both. Every previous attempt to extract the creature ended in death. Semiradov gives Klimova one task: find a way to part them and keep both alive. Klimova takes on the impossible. For hours, she studies the recordings, argues with the scientists, dissects every second of the creature's behavior, and slowly she realizes the thing isn't just feeding on him, it's doing something to Konstantin himself, to his mind. She talks to the cosmonaut again and again, and she notices something strange. At night, the creature reaches for an old toy, the very one Konstantin was bringing to his son. The thing behaves as if it feels exactly what the man it grew into feels. Klimova changes her approach. She asks that Konstantin be moved into a normal room by day, treated like a living man and not a lab specimen. They talk almost like friends. He confesses he only learned his son existed a week before the launch and dreamed of coming home to him. This boy, whom Konstantin has never once held, is the only thing keeping the cosmonaut tied to this world. And it's exactly this thread that the creature, without knowing it, has grabbed hold of. Through his longing for his son, it sinks ever deeper into his soul. That night, Klimova takes an insane risk. Through the glass, she watches the creature freeze over the toy again. So she removes the barrier and holds the toy out to the thing herself. The creature takes it, absorbed in it, like a child. For a second, it seems the creature can be reasoned with. But the moment Klimova reaches closer, the thing lunges at her instantly. The soldiers barely drag her out in time. This creature remembers its host's tenderness and still kills without a thought. Klimova forms a theory: the creature has psychologically fused with Konstantin. It reaches for the toy because in the man's memory, it's tied to his son. The monster has inherited his feelings, and maybe it's through those very feelings that it can be beaten. But the deeper Klimova digs, the more terrible the truth that surfaces. Moscow ordered the cosmonaut and the creature destroyed long ago. And all this time, Semiradov has been sending fake progress reports upstairs to buy time. Why would a soldier cling to this thing so hard? Klimova spots strange cuts in the surveillance footage. Pieces deliberately removed. She corners Rigel, and trembling, he gives up the facility's monstrous secret. Every night, Semiradov feeds the creature something, and that something is living people. The creature doesn't feed on flesh. It feeds on fear. More precisely, on the hormone a human dumps into their blood while dying in terror. So they bring victims into the creature's cell so that both it and Konstantin can live. Every night someone dies so the hero can breathe. Klimova is horrified by what she's been pulled into. In secret, she arranges to meet Konstantin alone and shows him the proof, the people they fed to the creature. She expects him to recoil, but the cosmonaut's reaction turns out to be far more chilling. Konstantin admits it. He remembers everything the creature does, every night, every victim. He only pretended to know nothing, hoping they'd let him go home. And for his son, he's ready to keep paying with other people's lives, just to come back. Klimova also finds why the creature chose him. His dead co-pilot had a rare illness, Addison's disease. The creature adapted to it and now demands that very hormone of fear. On the X-rays, the entire biology of this nightmare is laid bare. In front of Klimova stands a man you simply cannot condemn. He's not a villain. He's a father who for 7 years didn't know he had a son and now clings to his only chance to reach him, even at the cost of others' blood. And that makes it all the more terrifying. Semiradov summons Klimova. He knows she spied on the feeding. He doesn't make excuses. He calmly explains, the creature is a weapon no one else in the world has, and the victims are only condemned criminals. To him, the price is acceptable. He even invites her to watch. Another victim is brought into the cell. Klimova does something desperate. She steps inside and quietly sings the creature Konstantin's favorite song. For a moment, the thing freezes, as if remembering. But the instant the man bolts for the exit, the creature kills him anyway. The beast is stronger than the memory. Klimova understands there's no negotiating. She has to get Konstantin out at any cost. Together with Rigel, they devise a plan. If they inject the cosmonaut with a hormone that mimics that very disease, the creature will decide its host no longer fits and leave him on its own. Rigel gets the car keys and immediately phones Moscow to report everything happening at the facility. It's his last act. Semiradov learns about the call and kills the scientist before he can slip away. Klimova and Konstantin run, but Semiradov has already roused his soldiers. On the dark steppe road, headlights, gunfire, and sparks close in on them. The car careens through the night, surrounded on every side. There seems to be no way out. In desperation, Konstantin injects himself with the compound too early. Sensing the threat, the creature rips out in a fury and falls upon the soldiers. In the blood and chaos, Klimova manages to drag the cosmonaut into the car and break through the ring. They lose the pursuit in the night steppe. Behind them, the burning facility, the dead soldiers, and everything left of the secret experiment. Ahead, freedom, and the son who suddenly feels within reach. But Klimova notices Konstantin is getting worse and worse, and then she realizes her mistake with horror. Without the creature, Konstantin can't survive. The hormone did its work. The thing left, but the man's life is leaving with it. The cosmonaut dies right there in her arms, in the middle of the steppe. So Klimova does a terrible thing. She deliberately lets Semiradov catch up to them, because only he is carrying the wounded creature. Only reuniting with the thing can save Konstantin. The colonel steps out toward them, certain he has won. But at the last second, Konstantin does what no one expected. By his own will, he seizes the creature's consciousness and unleashes it on Semiradov and his soldiers. Man and monster finally act as one, and for the colonel, that is the end. Far off across the steppe, trucks from Moscow are already raising dust. Rigel's call worked. Soon it won't be one colonel here, but an entire army. And then Konstantin would be locked away forever. The thing inside him turned into the very weapon he cursed himself for being. And so the cosmonaut makes his final choice. To stop the endless killing and refuse to become a monster on a chain, he decides to end it himself. A single shot cuts off both his life and the creature's existence. And so this bond is broken. Klimova holds him until everything goes dark. The woman brought in as an executioner turns out to be the only one who saw a human being in him. Not a specimen, not a weapon, not a hero on a poster. Too late to save him. Just in time to say goodbye. Time passes. A quiet sanatorium, bright windows, not a single concrete wall. Klimova arrives at the orphanage where the boy lives. The very son Konstantin never got to hold. She has done what the Cosmonaut could not. She takes the child home with her, and the boy who never knew his father wraps his arms around her. The one person who walked through that hell to the very end for his sake. The monster is dead, the experiment burned to ash, and the small life it was all started for goes on. Why does this story hit so hard? Because the real monster here isn't the thing from space. The creature only wants to live. The monster is the system, ready to feed an alien human beings for a weapon. And the father, ready to pay an other's blood for his own love. The creature is only a mirror. If this story got to you, drop a like and tell me in the comments. Whose side are you on? Klimova, who tried to save a man, or Semiradov, who tried to save a country? And there are more films ahead, the kind that leave you silent and thinking. Stick